We are live. Welcome, welcome all. Thank you for coming. Getting everything set up on my end. We already got 30 people in the house. All right, Instagram, there we go. All right, let's get everything set up here. TikTok. Everybody loves a TikTok. Let's see. How do I do this? All right, there we go. TikTok's live. Hello, we got people coming in. All right. Good stuff, everybody. Let's do it. Emergency food and precious metals. Agreed. I had a few complaints. Yesterday after the live session. People were saying it wasn't informative enough. I'm not sure what they were looking for exactly. The live sessions, just for everybody coming in here, is for us to talk about one singular topic that I'll bring up. And then if you have any questions on any topic, I'll answer that. But I try to keep the focus for me specifically on that, whatever the topic is. In this case, it's the Federal Reserve and their actions. You are welcome to ask any question you want, and I would love to answer your questions. It's awesome to have people from all over the world bringing different perspectives, bringing, different information. Like, for example, Mr. K-Man right here from the Cayman Islands. I love the fact that people are from all over the world just bringing what they have to the table, okay? Some people, I don't know. Regardless, I try to do my best here on the channel. The live sessions are a casual scenario where we can come, we could talk, we can have a little bit of fun, and of course, we could learn a thing or two. I have two wells. One electric pump is about 1,000 feet from my house, and the other I drilled right after I bought the place. It's less than 100 feet from my front door. Good stuff. That's awesome. Hello, Dave. Will a 401k be affected with this Evergrande fiasco? Depends on what your 401k has, right? The 401k is like the vehicle. Depends what you got in there, right? At this point, it's too early. At this point, it is too early to tell. So I think we'll know more. We're going to know more this week. I think the stock is going to continue to decline until they get a message out there of like, hey, we're going to bail it out, or, maybe we're just going to take a piece of that, a piece of this. Like in any bankruptcy, people need to understand this about bankruptcy for corporations, is that the companies don't just fail and disappear and all employees are gone, all infrastructure is gone, and they just disappear from the face of the earth. It doesn't work like that. They're excavated, okay? The other companies will come in and they'll say, okay, well, I'm going to take that division, I'm going to take that one, I'm going to take the infrastructure, all of this. And yeah, they're going to get it for much cheaper than what it is, but it's broken. Okay, it's like buying a broken down car. You're not going to pay the full price, right? No, you're going to pay a very cheap price, and then you fix it up again. All right. Let's see. I saw a super chat. Awesome. Raymond, thank you very much for the support, as always. I got Instagram's asking, any questions, DC or Marvel? I don't know. I'm not the best person to ask for that kind of stuff. I don't really have a favorite. I don't know. I don't watch much television, so I wouldn't be the best person to ask. I could tell you that. Cayman Islands will suffer from the global corporate income tax of 15% when they eventually... No, Cayman won't. Cayman has come out and said something that they basically have said, we are neutral. So they're transparent. So the Cayman Islands has a 0% tax on basically everything. If a corporation opens up in Cayman Islands, they pay 0% tax. However, if they want to actually utilize that money, they have to bring it back to their country. So if it's, it's a US corporation and it has to flow back into the United States, they have to pay the taxes on that. If it's Canadian, if it's I think people are unaware how it works. Like, oh, the corporation just goes over there and open up a headquarters there and that's it, it's done. It's not like that. It's much more nuanced than that. You pay that, they're neutral and they're transparent, meaning they will tell the governments, if it's a US company, Canadian company, whatever, they're going to tell that government, oh, this person or this group has an entity here in the Cayman Islands. So you can't get away with it. The latest on Evergrande, I haven't heard any brand new information today. If you haven't seen already, highly recommend watching the video I did today. It is doing very well. I received a lot of hate mail from it, so you should definitely check it out. It's a really good one. A lot of depth in that one. The Fed shorted the stocks going into the lockdown and then covered the lockdowns. Are you guys getting choppy video here? I just had a warning. Viewers will experience buffering. Are you guys having a problem? Let me know. Is everything okay? Let me know. YouTube hours of video to maintain. Huh. Video's better now. Lasted a second. Okay. Weird. It's choppy. It's okay now. Okay. Let me know. Let me know if it gets bad again. Okay. So where was I? Now that made me lose train of thought. Yeah, I'm trying to bring this up. So I had been unable to find this. I mean, look, 2 years ago exactly, the information started to be released. Sorry, you had the repo operations that came out. 2 years after that particular date, you find out what happens. And I don't think it's anything to do with Freedom of Information Act. It's just that's the way it is. So you find out 2 years later. So we are here now at that time, and I need to look it up. So my initial search came up with nothing. I found the dollars. I found the dates. I found like all of that information, but I didn't find the primary dealers. So I have to do a little bit of digging. I only spent a few minutes. I will try to get that to you guys. I think it's really important. I expect to see the usual suspects, the JPs, the Goldmans, and so on. You're managing all your streams like a boss. I got Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and then on this screen over here, I got Instagram, and down here, I got TikTok. I got 5 going at once. Trying to do it all at once. Okay, getting your questions. Their backdoor. Oh, no, I missed that question. Do you think energy prices can head higher when countries trade oil in a different currency? Yeah, absolutely. 100%. 100%. Maybe that changes down the road, but for now, yeah, for sure. Do you think USA is creating all of these new dollars to back the crypto economy 1-to-1, which will flip the situation around? I don't think so. I don't think that's why. I don't think it's going to be back like crypto backing and all that. I don't see that. What I do see, the most probable scenario for what I believe is that you have the, my thinking is that they're going to have a UBI, universal basic income. The central bank digital currency will be part of that. Hey, sign up to this, you get on with that central bank digital currency and so on. I think that's the way it's going to go. Having problems again, guys. Hope you can see me. I'm getting another error. It's terrible. Hope it's all right. Anyway. If paper derivatives market of gold went away, how much would physical gold be? Higher, but where? I don't know. A lot of the demand, though, at the same time, a lot of the demand comes from the paper markets, because there's that, the traders going back and forth, and a lot of investment companies, they don't want to hold physical, like if they do hold any, they don't want to hold the physical side. They want that liquid so they could trade in and out of it. So, hard to say exactly, but it would be worth more, I believe, because they can't push it down as much. That's the reason why. Earl is saying UBI to buy precious metals is heaven. Yeah, you would take that check they give you, but the problem is if they make you sign up to that system, not so good. I wonder what the fine print is on that. Is allocated gold as safe as having physical gold in a turmoil? I don't believe so, no, but some would disagree with me. The only way I believe it is if I actually owned it physically. Otherwise, it's paper. And by the way, there's nothing really wrong with the paper. It's just not gold. That's all. Like if you buy GLD or whatever, because you think for the next 3 months it's going to perform well, yeah, no problem. It's no problem. But if you're holding it for the reason I believe you should hold precious metals, and that is an indefinite hold to save money, specifically to save money, then you wouldn't do the whole GLD and paper thing. Just my opinion. I've been stacking uranium for a while now. That pile has started to glow and give off heat. Should I be concerned? Absolutely not. Absolutely. That glow and that heat, that's just you becoming a billionaire. That's all. What can you tell us about the coming meeting? Oh yeah, this is going to be the biggest meeting all year, and definitely this year. The expectation here at this time is they're going to indicate when the taper starts. Some have said October, some have said November, some have said December. We'll see. Who knows, right? And that'll give us some insight as to what's going to happen. The markets immediately begin pricing in things, like even before they actually happen. So that's going to give us really, really good look at the whole world over the next while for the rest of the year. It's so huge. That's the most important thing. But what I wanted to say right now, we got 220 people in the house. I think we'll wait 5 more minutes and then I'll get into my little speech. What about silver and copper? What about the spread between silver and gold? I'm not sure what you're referencing exactly. I don't look at particular ratios too often, especially with anything related to gold and silver. I just don't think it's important because the way that I look at these as an investment, every single asset has its own benefits. They have their downsides, every single one. And gold and silver is the type of thing that you just save permanently. That's all. That's my opinion. Throw the man some likes. Yes, yes, yes. Where is it here? Down here. Somewhere here. Hit that like button when you do your supporting the channel. Okay, I appreciate that. Keith Newmeyer. I'm not sure who that is. We'll see about the interviews. Right now, I can't do any interviews, but I'm considering it for later on. Generally, just the interviews, they take a lot of time. They take a lot of coordination. It has its own challenges. I enjoyed doing them, but honestly, the views were very, very bad on all of them. Every single one that I did 4 or 6. I can't even remember. They were terribly performing interviews. And so that gave me, like, I don't care about the views, but I want to do obviously what the people want to see. And I'm not sure why, but it gave me the indication that people don't want to see that content. So I don't know what to tell you. But anyway, I'm going to still do more. I just, we'll see. Thank you, Nick. Yes, thanks, Sprott, for the uranium. Is that what we're talking about? While the Fed has been destroying the dollar and our freedoms we've been stamped on, I've been keeping up with the Kardashians. The Kardashians. It's hilarious. I mean, that's what's important, right? You got to understand, like, what's important to you. I mean, is health important? Is wealth important? No. Keeping up with the Kardashians. That's what's important. Okay, guys? Come on. Come on. Don't be silly. It's all about the Kardashians, okay? Is it too late for uranium stocks? It's difficult to say from what I mean, the research indicates no. But the prices have come up a lot, right? But, nothing goes straight up. There's always going to be, peaks and valleys and so on. And you hope that you've got enough steam and can carry it on and get the meat of the trade. You're never going to pick the absolute bottom or the absolute top. What I would say is if you get into that trade or any trade, that you don't be one of these people that just hangs on for dear life forever and just like, I think eventually I'll make money. Don't do that. Don't be the captain on the ship. The ship is just sinking and sinking and sinking. And you're like, well, I don't want to sell now. And it's just all the way down. And then you're holding on to basically worthless garbage. And you think, well, there's not much left. So there's not really any point of selling. And just don't do that. If you start to see it and it loses, it gets to a certain point, sometimes you just got to cut your losses. That's what makes in my opinion, that's what makes the best traders, the best investors, are people who know when to cut their losses. It has nothing to do with the gains. It's about losses. What if the tapering fails? In my opinion, this is all by design anyway. Everything is all by design. So, all right. Oops. Let's see. I always lose the chat. All right. Lawrence, you like the interviews? Yeah, I do too. I mean, I liked it. I'm planning on doing more. Just right now, I can't. So we'll see. I'll do what I can. VIX has some room to rise in the next 2 days. It is absolutely possible. It's been so low, despite a little bit of a spike there. It's just so ridiculously low. And why? Because they've been programmed. Investors have been programmed to believe that it's not going to go up. Stocks are just going to keep going up and up and up and up, and so the VIX will remain low. What are your thoughts on China investments? So if you look, the stock market has been pounded down. Tech stocks have been very weak. Some people think that's the time when you got to buy. That's true. However, look at what George Soros did. After the whole Archegos blow up, George Soros steps in. He buys Baidu, Tencent, and Alibaba, I think it was. So he goes in and buys these companies, and then they just went down even further. And then he got out of the trade. And that's the way it works. You can't necessarily just get into something and believe that it's going to go up because it came down so much, or the other way around, right? You never know. You really never know. I enjoyed your interview with Elijah. Yeah, that was good. I wanted to talk about the Federal Reserve and my opinions on the situation based on what I've seen. As soon as I go through this. Okay, good. Okay, here we go. So let me be very succinct with this. I'll try to do my best. The Federal Reserve as an institution created back in 1913, the history of this really, it goes back further, but you could say 1907, you had the Panic of 1907, big problems, big crisis. They come out there, this is the solution, it's 1913. Woodrow Wilson, he's putting this together along with JP Morgan, all the different financial companies. They all had their hand in the scenario, okay? They go to Jekyll Island, they do the deal, it's all happening. They sign it in the nighttime, nobody's around, they make this work. Okay, so now you have the Federal Reserve Act 1913, but I don't think they started actual operations until 1914. And you look at each circumstance, 1920 to 1921, there was a depression, but nobody really knows about it. And why? Because there was no intervention by the Federal Reserve. The federal government cut spending. They cut the spending by 60%. The obviously that has an impact, okay? But the stock market got roaring. The economy got roaring again within a year and a half time frame. Going from memory, a year and a half, it was something like this, and it is back up and running. It's all good. Yet today, what we have instead is a situation where there is intervention after intervention after intervention after intervention, and the more intervening, the worse things get. But they are there to help you. So they come out there with their forward guidance, telling everybody, telling investors, which is the financial media gets out into there, and the analysts and so on, and they bring out information that basically says, look, the only possible way for there to be a solution is that the Federal Reserve has to do what they say. They have to remain independent. Don't ask questions. Don't ask for an audit. Don't ask to be, to challenge them or anything like this. They need to do what they have to do, and the stock market's going to go up. The 401ks are going to do well, and the pension funds are going to survive. It's all because of the Federal Reserve. But if we go back time and time again and see how they actually act, you would find out that isn't the case at all. The Federal Reserve, just from their inception, you realize that isn't the case. So you could see the booms and busts that they create, and every single time they magnified the crisis. And they magnified this crisis worse and worse and worse. Look at 2000, look at 2008, and look at 2020. Each one, and there's other dips in between there as well, but every single one is getting more aggressive, more violent, and more detrimental to the average person. And why? It's because of their activities, keeping interest rates so low. When you do that, you don't have a cushion. You don't have any room to work with. You have no ammunition. They do that on purpose. And this is allowing them to further accelerate their, in my opinion, their goals and aspirations, which is to own and control everything. But you can't do that when times are good. You can't do that when the markets are roaring higher. You must initiate a crisis. And look at what happened as an example. 2020 comes in. The Federal Reserve says, we're going to step in and we're going to loan money to businesses. There was no reason for that whatsoever. There was absolutely no reason. but they tried to do it. There wasn't much uptake on the system anyway, but they tried to do it. Then they came around and they said, we're going to set up these special purpose vehicles. We're going to use the treasury to make this happen. And we are going to start bailing out anything and everything. We are going to buy the corporate bonds of Apple. I mean, are you kidding me? There was no request for this. There was no vote on this. The Congress didn't say yes or no. It just got, let's do it. Let's do it. Why? What the heck is the point of that? Obviously, there's another purpose here, but people can't see that. They say, no. The Fed isn't going to allow another crash, buddy. You got something else coming. These are the people that are really, really hoping that there isn't another crash. There is always going to be more crashes. And who buys in at the bottom? Who really wins every time? Not you and I. No, not the pension funds. It's the elite. You've got people like Bill G going in right now and buying a controlling stake, a majority stake, I believe is the right term, in the hotel chain Four Seasons. So there he is buying it up. I'm sure he got a real discount because they haven't had customers for a year and a half. So he comes in, he's buying it up. Greece, islands, airports, all the infrastructure sold off. You have in Italy, I believe, somebody can confirm if you're from Italy, put it in here. They started leasing off a lot of their institutions only for, I believe it is, companies within Italy. So the infrastructure gets sold off. But you can't do that when there's prosperity. You have to use a crisis. Rahm Emanuel, never let a crisis go to waste. This is real. This is important. And I hope you understand the way that this works, okay? I get comments every single day from people telling me, no, the Fed won't allow another crash. Well, that would be very bad for those people who are the shareholders of the Fed and the interconnected families and the ones that set it up in the first place. The crash is when they make their most money and can, basically exact as much control as they desire. That's the time. All right. That was my rant. I'll do another one in 20 minutes. Cheers to everybody out there, wherever you are in the world. We got a lot of comments coming through, about 300 people right now, 162 likes. You got to hit that like button. Where is it in here? Hit it. Hit. All right. Guys, loving the rants. Good stuff. I can go all day. Rant GPS for the win. Good stuff. Markets crash before they sign a bill. And brr. Yep. They use a crisis or they manufacture a crisis, whatever it takes. And then they come in and provide the solution. Have no fear. The solution is here. Hold hands with Yellen, obviously. Susan, as always, thank you so much for your support. Liking the Fed backdrop. Yes, I bring it to you directly from the source. I'm here at Federal Reserve Town, and we are making this happen. You guys got to wait for the awesome background that I have somebody developing for me. I had to, negotiate a price on it because the initial price was too high for me to to put through, but I wanted to invest. I try to take what I have from this business and just constantly reinvest it and try to make it a little bit better. I created a new PDF today, trying to give you tips on the stock market, how to be able to tell what's happening, just general tips, good stuff, so that each and every video hopefully is going to end with tips. I'm trying to really change this channel up and make it as positive as possible. And by positive, I mean make it as awesome as possible. All right. Take care. Thank you for coming in. Is UBI a guarantee? Are CBDC's inevitable? How soon? Yeah, so I think what we can look for definitely is what China's doing right now. I think that's going to be, like, in a lot of ways, they are the beta test for a lot of the the plans that the globalist elite have. So you're going to see what China's doing now. I haven't seen anything actually in a few weeks, any new updates on it, but they're in the beta test, and it's a real beta test because I believe like billions of dollars have flown through this CBDC system. So it's going to give us a lot of insight into it, and I think they're going to just implement it everywhere. Many people will say, I won't accept it. Well, you'll probably have a chance to not accept it. But there might be restrictions for you, just like we see with other aspects today. I think the way that, and I've said this before, and I'll say it again and again, I personally believe that the number one way that they can get people to accept it is to do the CBDC. So you have the central bank, like the Federal Reserve, they'll be the ones to give the UBI. Oh, you want your UBI? No worries. Sign up to the Federal Reserve, federalreserve.gov/UBI. Hey, come on in. You just fill out this information. You just put your fingerprint. You put your retina scan. You put your blood sample. You put your shoe size. You put a camera in your house facing you at all times, and we'll be watching, like, whatever it is. They're going to want all that information, and they're going to get it from people, not from everybody, but they'll get it from a lot of people, and that's going to enable them to get millions and millions and millions and millions of people. Why? Because it's free money, right? Free money has consequences, though. And if people are desperate, they're going to do whatever it takes. That's the way I see it. Brett, thank you very much for the support. My thought is America might get crashed Venezuela style for our guarded resources, kill the old empire. So you're suggesting that they'll go towards the hyperinflation. It's certainly possible. I mean, look, the U.S. has seen two currencies hyperinflate before, so it wouldn't be the first time that that's happened. It's not impossible. What I think will happen, a likely scenario, is that the whole world, so things get crazy, inflation all around the world, because we're kind of all doing the same thing, every country, deficit spending, debt, and money printing. And then, I think there could be an emergency meeting, the World Bank, the IMF, the BIZ, and then the heads of the central banks, they all come together, they sit down, and they say, we got to do something about this. It's horrible. It's terrible. We need to provide a solution. Oh, my goodness. And so they end up kind of utilizing, I think, it would be the utilization of the central bank digital currencies, all kind of connected together through some system. And that will allow them to have control top down. Because the whole world is interconnected today, and it's different than what we had experienced previously in the past. There's this obvious dependence on every country that I think they're going to probably go ahead and try to unify under a single currency behind all the other currencies. So you use your Canadian dollar, your US dollar, whatever, but behind there's going to be a new system. So they're going to revalue the US dollar because it had inflated to a certain degree, and they decide, okay, now it's worth whatever, this much or that much, and so on. So I think that's how they'll get that going. It's not going to be necessarily something that they, it's not something that they'll do similar to what we've seen before, but in a sense, it still goes in the same direction. No currency lasts forever. That's it. Hope that answers your question, my long-winded way of answering questions. If I can buy food at Walmart, then the CBDC is valuable. Yeah, I mean, of course, if it's money, right? I just don't know what they're going to make you sign on to get that. It's not a simple matter of, hey, put your name and address in here, we're going to give you free money. I think there's going to be more. We'll see. Internet of Bodies. Somebody mentioned that before. I'm not sure if it was you or somebody else, but I'm not sure. Courtney, finish your second book. Awesome. In one sitting today. Good. Good stuff. Let's see. Would you be able to elaborate on the role World War II played in enabling the formation of the NATO that you've alluded to in your book? So it's been a long time since I read about that, so you'll have to forgive me. Where did I get a lot of that? A lot of those details. I'm just trying to think of where, if there was another reference point I could give you. Enabling the formation. I just can't remember. I know I read a couple books on it that. So the way like my books were written is, I read this huge number of books, and then I was taking notes. Okay, I put the little tabs on the sides, and then I decided to write a book. So I started pulling all that data into like one kind of big note, and then I spread those out into different sections, and then I organized that way. So it's like basically an organization of my thoughts and research. That's how the first book was started. Now, what can I remember? So essentially, I don't know specific details and times and dates and everything, but essentially the way it worked was they had a crisis here, and they needed to basically sit down and say, we need to resolve this. The currency needs revaluation. We set up the Bretton Woods Agreement, all of this stuff, and that was instrumental in the World Bank, the IMF, all these different institutions. I don't remember enough detail right now, but I know that as a fact. This is when it came in. I think it was actually like 1944, but then it started in 1944 into 45. But yeah, all of these groups got set up essentially to be like peace and prosperity. We had problems. Let's resolve them all. Plus the revaluation. Like at that point, they made the U.S. dollar king. That was the point at which they did that. So that was all decided. I think it was predetermined in the first place, but that's the way it was. They set up the Bretton Woods Agreement, which remained intact until 1971, when Nixon pulled the world off the gold standard. And so, yeah, the reason they did that, I mean, I guess there's manyfold, but ultimately those in control wanted the United States dollar to be the one, to be the reserve currency of the world, and to have I should also mention the fact that they won the war, supposedly. So the gold was flowing to the US. So it was flowing out of the European countries. It was flowing into the United States. And so they were able to basically have a very strong currency that was known at that moment. So there was a reason to revalue the global monetary system, having the US dollar being the core of it. The gold behind it is kind of it was there. Of course it was there, but they already know 30 years ahead that they were going to change that system anyway. 1971 happened to be the time. I don't know if that's when they decided that, but anyway, hope that answers your question. Yeah, Seed and Company owns the majority of all U.S. publicly traded stock link into a yes. Yeah, Brendan, thank you for the comment and your support. Yeah, I did read that before. It's interesting. It is interesting. I mean, it looks like that literally that is the case. That's not a theory or anything, based on what I've read anyway. It's crazy to makes you think that. And why did they do that? It's because then they say anyway, because things can change hands. You know, it's like if you were to imagine if you were to buy and sell your house every day. Well, then you got to get a lawyer involved because it has to change hands. You got to change title back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Because realistically, when you own a share of that company, you're a part owner of that company, technically the way it's supposed to be. So, you have claim to that. But what if you're like a day trader, like going back and forth like 62 times in a day on that stock? Does it make sense for them to, change title every single time and this and that? So this is why they created that system. That's what they say. But I don't know if, there would be a time in which, does it affect people really? Maybe. They could do something with that. Right. Just looking at your comments in here. We're talking about the Federal Reserve. We're talking about everything to do with the financial system. There's a lot going on today. Some people were very upset about me talking about Michael Burry. They say, Michael Burry, he keeps shorting the market. They've never looked at his 13F. They didn't look at what he invests in. And of course, you only know based on his 13F, so you don't know what he's doing day to day. But, it's people should look at everybody. I know there's some people out there who they follow financial YouTubers and just because a lot of them make their investments public, and they just copy whatever they do. I mean, I guess you can do that if it's working, right? I just don't know long term if that's a strategy. Thank you for the support. Any major countries with a strong currency still? So normally what I would tell you under normal conditions, we are far from normal today, what I would say Swiss franc. It's a strong currency. It's so strong, in fact, that they have to constantly devalue it against the euro. I mean, it's unbelievable. And they keep saying, we have to do this because, why? We are an exporting nation. So if our currency gets too strong, we're going to have problems. And in a sense, I get it. I understand. Like Mexico, what happened in the 90s, they devalued their currency to be more attractive to exports, and that got the economy going again. So I understand, but to a certain degree. So, even... for example, you saw back in the Asian financial crisis in the 90s as well, where was it? Now I'm drawing a blank. Either Indonesia or Thailand, who unpegged from the U.S. dollar, and then there's so much hot money started flooding in. It was crazy, and then this actually created a huge bubble, massive bubble, and this type of thing happens all the time, right? That's why these governments and these central banks, they have so much, they control everything so much. There's so capital controls. I dislike this system so, like, it's terrible. It is so terrible. That's why I like tangible things, because at least it's physical. I mean, they can confiscate and they can they can seize, if you own a property, maybe they could have a reason to seize it. They could say, well, you built it wrong on the land, or it was actually, the title was owned by this and that. I get that, but at least it's a little bit more real. A little bit more real. It's really worrisome today how far they've gone, the governments have gone. I mean, and what's been there for a long, long time. Like, look at, for instance, the crown, the monarchy. The Queen herself, the Majesty, owns 87% of the land in Ontario. It was crazy. It just makes you think how wacky some things are. It's terrible. What is money? Some have a particular definition of money. I think it's anything that could be used to exchange for something else. That could be livestock. That could be coins. Throughout the years, there's been a lot of different things that have been money. Thank you for the support. I'm an ABS analyst working on CMBS fraud. I've done a short write-up on the CLO issue and structure and the associated problems. I can send it. Awesome. Good stuff. Good stuff. I hope that gets out there. We need to know what's going on. CLOs are big. CLOs have grown. If you know the total for CLOs, if you have any indication on the total, please post it right here. Let us all know what's going on with that. CDOs were the big thing back during 2007. And now today, the CLOs are the big thing. It's all the same garbage. All the same garbage. And I've had people get very upset at me talking about the garbage in the system. But what do you call a whole bunch of garbage being put together? I mean, it's garbage. I'm not going to use a different word. I know that upsets people, but I have to tell it like it is. Like, we found out by the time it was 2007, anybody with a pair of eyes that worked could see that this was all. You didn't need to be Michael Burry warning in 2005. You could have seen that in 2007. It was terrible. Now, they said, don't worry, it's contained in subprime mortgages. That's where the problem is. The rest of the financial system's okay. Now, they flat out lied. They told you it was okay. They told you everything was going to be all right, just like they are today, and just like they always will. If you looked at all the analysts, the government, the Federal Reserve, everybody, top to bottom, 2007, 2008, 2009, 2010, every single time, everything's okay, everything's just fine, everything's going to be okay, there's no problem here, look over there, through every single year. Meanwhile, there was massive turmoil. There was extreme problems. Like, subprime mortgages contained, and then real estate and the financial system around the entire world was affected by it. Think about how crazy that is. Look at, so you want to, people, they get certain, they do certain ratios. Why not take the subprime mortgages that were an issue and divide by the total mortgages all around the world? Well, that would be just a fraction, just a decimal place. But of course, you don't do that, because things unravel quickly, and they unravel much faster than we would ever believe possible. It just doesn't happen like you think it would. It just doesn't happen. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up button. I don't talk about my own ownership or anything. I just think that real assets ultimately are the best thing to hold over long periods of time. But each asset has its own benefits. Each one. All right. Okay. We need a chalkboard in the back of you with a list of names. So I showed it one time here on the live. I don't know if you guys have seen it, but I'm doing a little whole like quick like 10-second introduction and all my videos. Now it's going to come out with this really cool like 3D rendered video thing. And so there'll be, where is it? I'm backwards here. There's going to be a screen in the back over here where I can put charts, I can put data, and up over here in the corner is going to be kind of like a, what do you call it? A cork board, like a cork board. And on that cork board, I've already got the images for it. And it's the original setup of the Federal Reserve. All those guys, and including Woodrow Wilson and everybody. But that's going to be on the cork board. And so people who recognize the reference there will get it. And I think it's going to be really cool. It'll be up, like, I think it'll be right up in this corner, kind of. It's going to be cool. Yeah, so I used to talk about this, and all of those videos are off. I had to delete them. That's all I'm going to say. Thank you for the support. Appreciate that very much. As always, anybody who supports me through any way, whether it's thumbs up or donations or anything, thank you. Yeah, Jeff Berwick. The problem is if you say the wrong thing, which I'm surprised he still has a channel, because he's definitely gone and said a few things that, you risk the channel. That's the problem with these things. You say a few things and your channel just gets swiped. And what they do is they don't give you 3 strikes and you're out. It's 3 strikes immediately and you're out. So you've got to be so careful. I mean, this platform, let's be honest, guys. This platform, you can only get to a certain level. You can't go deeper. You can go 1 level deep. You can't go more than 1 level. After you go more than 1 level, it's over. Gold-backed crypto? I personally don't think so. In my opinion, the Federal Reserve, the United States, they probably have little to no gold physically. I guess they don't really have to show. But I think what the gold does is it signifies that, like they need for you to believe, like, in Fed we trust. Okay, they want that. They want to go away from the gold. They want to get away from the physical and onto this brave new world. That's my opinion, but we'll see. Yeah, Rumble. So I'm on Odyssey. I tried to put my stuff on Rumble. And I tried to put my stuff on the other one, BitChute. And their system of automatically pulling and bringing it from my YouTube over to those ones, it doesn't work. I contacted the support. They tell me what to do, or they tell me, no, there's nothing we can do. And it doesn't work. Odyssey, it works. Actually, I haven't checked in a long time. But Instagram is asking, how do you feel about crypto indexes? I'm not sure what you mean specifically about the indexes, are you saying just in general the performance of cryptos? I think it has performed extremely well. There's no doubt about that. There's a lot of strength in them. However, it is considered, as far as I'm concerned, to be a risk asset. So if there is risk off, if we see risk off, then I believe that cryptocurrencies will feel a little bit of that weakness. How far it goes down, I don't know, but I think that it's based on that. I think it is based on, how much risk they want to take. People want to take, and that all depends on how much, the interest rates, where they're at, and how much money printing there is. I try to respond to this as many as I possibly can. It's hard to know sometimes just reading all of them because there's a million comments, which ones are directed towards me and which ones are not. So I try to get to as many as I can. Just reading your comments here, guys. Thank you, by the way, for everybody here. We got 289 people in the house. If you haven't already, hit that thumbs up button. When you do that, you're basically signifying to the algorithm that this is a good video. This is how you support the channel, simply by hitting that button, okay? Got people on Instagram. We got TikTok too. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up button. Thank you for coming on in. Best book. Obviously, Mike, The Money GPS is the best book. No. Actually, what the Money GPS was the book I wanted to read 15 years ago. I wanted that information. So if you read that book, this is literally, that's the book I wanted to read. Just give me the information I need to know. Put it simply, give me that foundation. I need to start somewhere so I can then get to the higher levels. Meanwhile, I'm reading all these complex economics texts, and I'm like, well, can I just start from the beginning? Like, give me the core details of how the system developed, the history. Like, give me the basics. So if you haven't read The Money GPS, you got to read it, okay? And then my second book, Global Economic Collapse, fills in some of the blanks for that book. But in terms of the best books that I've read, so The Creature from Jekyll Island, all about our friends at the Federal Reserve. If you appreciate the Fed, if you love the Fed, you have never read that book, okay? It's just plain and simple. Okay, so the Creature from Jekyll Island by G. Edward Griffin, probably one of the best books ever written, in my opinion. And I would say the most underrated book ever is Frank Partnoy. That's the author, Frank Partnoy. And the name of the book is Infectious Greed. Infectious Greed. Fantastic. Truly a fantastic book. Talks about a lot of the 80s, 90s, and beyond, and you see how the derivatives got set up. You see all the mistakes they made. If you like Michael Lewis's books, Michael Lewis is a lot of flash, there's a lot of pizzazz. There's a lot of they get made into movies, so there's a lot of entertainment value. But of course they're good. They have their own reason why they're good. But this is like a much more detailed, much more informative kind of view into that. Infectious Greed. And by the way, I think Frank Partnoy owes me some money because I've recommended that book 1,000 times. I love it. Philippines in the house. Good stuff. I think you're 12 hours away. Is it 12 or 13? I drove by the car dealerships and point out to my kids the lack of cars and trucks. I wanted to see it. Most times they seem to think I'm overreacting, but I pay the inflation. Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. Things are wacky. I think there's a lot of sketchiness happening today. That's my personal opinion. But for sure, you see the things. There are images of shortages, the ships off the coast. But I totally forgot again, I don't go into in the Instagram app, but somebody messaged me through Instagram. If you're in here right now, please let me know. Through Instagram, and basically said, here, I went on a fishing trip, a boat trip, and he went off in LA Long Beach where they have all the ships, and he took pictures of it. So he verified what we're seeing in the news. And so I have those pictures. I want to show you guys in a video. I'll try to do that for you. In fact, let me just close this TikTok because this is garbage. TikTok is the most garbage thing in existence. And if you have any children, if you have any nieces or nephews, if you have anybody that's young, do not let them ever use TikTok. Please. It's very bad for a lot of reasons. Let me just show you right here. If I see it. Oh, let me try to find it, guys. It's really cool. I don't know if I'm going to be... Yes. There it is. Matt. Matt, if you're in the house today. Let's see if I can show you this. It's probably going to look so tiny on your screen. Anyway, point is, all those ships... Those are them. LA Long Beach, verified by the Money GPS subscribers, which I appreciate very much. Check that one out. If you could see it. Why doesn't it focus? There, maybe that's better. Evergreen. Not ever given. But we got an evergreen right there. Verified by Money GPS subscribers, the best subscribers in the world, bar none. More knowledge coming out of this than any, in my opinion. So thank you all. TikTok isn't garbage, runs out of the room crying. That's funny. I'll tell you why. Actually, let me show you guys just really quickly about TikTok. Let me show you. I'll tell you why it's actually a very dangerous app, especially for young people. Okay, you see this? This is, wow, that's funny. That's a glitch. This button, so this is, I just opened the app and there's like this random, which probably looks really weird. Okay, let me show you me. So this is me right now, okay? There we go. So I'm going to click on the home and this random whatever comes up, okay? If I hit this button here, that's live. It brings me to a live video. If I could hit it. Okay, look. Some girl in her bedroom or something, right? I scroll. Next one. Look at this guy. This guy is... Hercules right here. Hercules right here is talking about his juice. Oh, I'm cutting off. Can you guys see me? I think I'm getting a little bad stream again. I don't know what's happening. Anyway, the point is, don't let the kids see it. I know it's for kids, but it's kind of geared towards younger kids, but they shouldn't be seeing it. It's terrible. Fannie Mae stock on the 6-month chart. I will look at it. I will look at it. Yeah. You can't talk about the financial bull if you don't know the creators of it. I agree. Excited for Monday, everyone, or Thursday? Oh, yeah. There's going to be all kinds of news coming out this week. You got what's happening with Evergrande. You got what's happening with the Federal Reserve. I mean, this is a huge week. A lot of volatility this week, guys. There's no doubt about it, okay? Christmas this year will come in 2022. Yeah, for a lot of people. I think, by the way, if you go to some stores, they already have Christmas decorations and Christmas things ready. So what I believe is partly, maybe they had some stock from the previous year, But a lot of businesses are starting to order super early. So what does that do? That puts additional pressure on the system, because that stuff normally wouldn't have been ordered, let's say, for another 2 months, but now they're ordering in advance. So the future demand is being pulled into the present. So that's putting additional strain. Thank you for the support. Quick synopsis of how the national debt default affects average citizens, US versus other countries. So let me say, I don't think that the US will default. I don't think that. There's some people that suggest this, and I've seen, sometimes I get the recommendations after I post my video, then I see the recommendations on the side, and sometimes catches my eye. One person today said something, the title was How the US Debt Default Will Work, or something like this. And I just don't agree with that. I think they're going to inflate. I think they will inflate away, or it will be a supranational entity like the World Bank, the BIS, or the IMF, and that's restructured. The debt is restructured underneath it. For the average individual, I don't think it has much of an impact other than the inflationary effects, or they devalue the currency against whatever the new system is. I think I'm getting choppy again. I apologize, guys, if that's the case, but I just think that that's probably the way it happens. That's my opinion. I hope that answers your question. Why isn't Amazon Business advisable? Yeah, so first of all, the AmazonGPS.com, I give away a free, and the more foot traffic there is, generally the higher prices that you have to pay for that physical retail location. You can open up your own website. You can open up a Shopify. You can do all these things, but you have to get the traffic into your store. And how do you do that? You can do it organically. You can create the Money GPS, for example, and I could tell you, hey, come to my website and buy my stuff. But there's only so many people that are able to do that, and so on. So the point is, you open an Amazon business, people are already coming in. The customers are already there. There's this particular software that I use, and it's called Helium 10, which is able to determine, it's all in the course, by the way, you're able to determine which of the, which products are selling well. You could see their sales, their revenue, like anything, all those details are available in the software. And so I can see, hey, look, this particular product makes a lot of money, but there's not too many people selling it. So then you can get a product that is built similar to that, and then you can import it, or you can have it domestically made, or you can make changes to it, or you can do whatever you want, right? And then you get all the benefits of having a business. You get the tax write-offs, you get the incentives, you get all these different things, and you can have, you can invest $10,000 and you put it into an Amazon in their stock. And so what's the best possible return you're going to get? Okay, maybe it's 10%, maybe it's 20%, maybe it's 30%, maybe it's whatever. Okay, year over year over year. It's done extremely well. It's for obvious reasons. But when you invest $10,000 into an Amazon business, you could take that initial capital and just keep recycling it over and over again and expanding. If you don't take any money out of that business and you simply reuse it over and over again, that thing just keeps swelling. As long as you don't make any, too big of a mistake, that thing just keeps on growing and growing. That's why it's advisable. People don't like Amazon, different story. But anyway, if you even if you hate Amazon, you will learn a lot in that course. The AmazonGPS.com. Yes, thank you for that. Yes. Gammon is suing the Fed. I don't know why people are. I guess there's a reason for it, but it's like a lot of it is for attention, in my opinion. Like these institutions will exterminate large swaths of the population. So I mean, they're just not going to lie down and take anything. But we have to fight back, obviously. The next Fed update this week. This week, the Fed is coming at you this week. So stay tuned for that. I'm going to bring videos on it, obviously. I'll give you everything you need to know. The expectation is that at the FOMC meeting, when we get those results, we are going to find out, is the Fed going to taper or are they not going to taper? We will find out. Personally, I don't believe that as soon as that meeting's over, that they are going to start tapering. I think that'll come in October, November being the most likely, or potentially December. We have to find out. All right, just reading through your comments here. AMC and GME. I wonder what they're, I haven't looked at it in a long time. Let me see. GME stock. I wonder how they're going to do. So it's 200. This has kind of been all over the place. It is definitely higher than where it was. I'll tell you that. It's getting up there. All markets are falling right now except for uranium. Yeah. Over the last few days, actually, I can open that right now. Let's do this quick, guys. An hour and 12 minutes in. I'm going to go for just a little bit longer. Hope you can see this. That's Tesla. I was showing this last time on the channel. So we got, which one is this? Sprott Physical Uranium Trust. Okay. So as I have said numerous occasions, when you see this activity, so this purple line right here, this is the Bollinger Band. Okay. And that basically just gives you like, think of it like the current momentum. Okay. It got out of hand. And what happened? Look, it was outside of the Bollinger Band. The stock price action comes back in. It again gets out of hand, comes back in. So it's always finding a balance. Okay, nothing goes straight up forever. It just doesn't happen. And here we are seeing that, even though there's so much bullish news about uranium right now, that you see this happen. Not everything goes up every single day. Then you've got this, Uranium Royalty Corp. Same thing. Went way up, comes back down. Is it going to keep going up? Many say it will, but it doesn't go straight up. There are bounces along the way. And then you have this, I think it's Cameco. Yeah. Biggest uranium company. This one has taken a hit. This one has taken much more of a hit. And that red line, there's a 20-day moving average. So we'll see. Does it break through that? I don't know. We'll see. We'll find out this week. If there's general overall market weakness, it could bring things down that maybe otherwise would be more bullish. Like, look at what's happening with commodities in general. Commodities in general have gone up. Depends on which one, but certainly. So that's it. That's all I really wanted to show you. We could look at oil briefly. I had it here. Now I can't see it. There we go. WTI. It's at 71. Same situation, though. Finds its way up to the top of the Bollinger Band and just glides around. You're seeing that again and time again. Oil, I think, is so key, so critical. And despite the fact that we've been told so many times before that, this is going away and so on, it is so important right now still. It's being used so much. Fed conference breakdown videos are good material for YouTube videos. Yeah, 100%. That's what, I sit through these things and it is, oh God, it's so painful. It is so painful, but that's my gift to you guys. It's terrible watching the Fed, watching Jerome Powell up there, and just, oh my goodness, it's so dry. I drink like 2 liters of water. Just the material is so dry, and oh my, oh, but it's all right. Sometimes it's funny. Actually, sometimes it's pretty funny. GPS, pull up the Fanny chart. I've been telling you for months. All right. I will look at that. What's the hang up on Long Beach? Does anybody know? So part of that problem, if you watch the interview, I did a live interview several weeks ago with somebody in the shipping industry. One of the factors he mentioned was there's simply not enough like truck drivers. So there's not enough truck drivers. So that stuff is like, they can't move the product out. In addition to that, they've got all of the, extra precautions and things in place that makes the general business slower. Okay, everybody has to be socially distancing. Everybody's got to do this, and this before they can do their job. So it just slows the whole process down. In addition, there's a huge demand surge for all different kinds of products today. So there's just much more stuff coming through. And so there's a lot of factors. And by the way, Long Beach, LA, it's either the most or one of the busiest ports in the world. Yeah, I heard about this. I don't believe it that's happening personally, but I've heard that. I'm in Long Beach near the port. Awesome. S&P's going up, somebody says. Yeah. All right. I'm going to take off in a couple minutes, everybody. Thank you for your hard work and content contributions. Absolutely. I appreciate you guys watching. Thank you, everybody. There's a really diverse crowd, of course. Some people love Bitcoin. Some people hate Bitcoin. Some people love precious metals. Other people hate it. Some people are stock market traders, and other people are just people wanting to watch what's happening in the economy because they're curious. So, it's fantastic to see people from all over the world, different walks of life, different ages, different groups, different interests. And we all unite around one thing, and that's we all want to know the truth. We want to know what's happening. And so, I just appreciate you being here. Trust me, like probably the only reason why I'm doing this still today, because financially the business has gotten worse because of, just the way it is anyway, but, is all the thank yous and all the, just the kind comments. There's a lot of bad comments that come through, especially on the regular videos. But the kind comments, like the warmth that everybody shared, it really keeps me going. It's awesome. Thank you. Absolutely. Thank you for the support. Thank you. I see your comments. I'll stay around. If you guys got more questions, let me know. People have already left. The party is like last call. You're welcome to ask the questions. I'm staying for a few minutes. 6,000 people have come in and out. Awesome. Great stuff, guys. GME ape. I don't go on Reddit. Back in January, was it this year? I guess it was. Back in January, there was this talk about GME and how this and that, and you know, I saw what the people were commenting on Reddit. I didn't use that site previously, and I went in there, and I realized that this is extremely dangerous. The way that there's something called the Dunning-Kruger effect, and essentially says that the less you know, the more confident you are. And say what you want about Nassim Taleb from the Black Swan. He's like, his most famous line is, "I don't know." He's an intelligent man. Whatever, like, say this or that. He's an intelligent guy. Okay, so he says, "I don't know" all the time, and that's just the way it is. You don't know. The more you read, the more you realize, I need to learn more about that. I don't know enough about that. And so I've devoted my last 15 years to reading all kinds of information, learning all kinds of information, and just trying to figure out different subjects. And I go in different territories, and I start to look up different things. And, you know, there's so much out there. Dogecoin, I'm not sure if that's a real comment. Is it? Yeah, they're talking about naked shorting GME. Like, it's just, people have held on to the stock simply because they believe that, hey, this thing is going to go crazy. I mean, it's 200 today, but it's going to be 2,000 at some point. But why not just take the capital? Like, you got to understand, the money is, you're putting money and applying it to something, whether it's a stock, to real estate, or whatever. Why not just do something that is a little bit more certain? It's not like, oh, it's guaranteed to happen. Why? Because you read it on Reddit? Like, just do things that are more certain. And owning a stock, particularly some of these stocks that are there's a lot of hype around, it's not the best place. It doesn't mean you don't put your money there. It means it's not the best place to allocate capital. Talk more history. You are very, very well versed, and that is what sets you apart from others. You know, I'm sure I'm not a particularly intelligent individual, but I try to do my best and try to bring that to you. The only problem is, you know, when you're trying to get views, you're trying to do this, oftentimes I find if you hear me stuttering and things, it's because I'm self-censoring myself as I speak, partially because they're listening, you know that, but at the same time, knowing all the comments are going to say this, the comments are going to say that, they don't like when I talk about that, the views were terrible on that video, and like this, and then it's all going through my head as I'm talking, and it's unfortunate. That's just the way it is. But anyway, what can you do? I don't know, it's a hard thing to say, but the smarter you become, the more you have to say it. Yeah, for sure, 100%. When I see a person that's too confident, that I have a concern about that. Oh, and I got cut off again. This happens, guys. I know you can hear me. I believe you can hear me, but you can't see me. It crashed out in 1:25 again. Oh well. Okay, guys. I'm going to take off. Thank you for being here today. If you haven't already, check out the Michael Burry Evergrande video I did this morning. Check that out, and I will bring you some really good stuff for tomorrow's video tomorrow morning. Check it out, okay? Thank you, everybody, for being here today. Take care.